What's going on, everybody? It's Stas here. So guess what? The market saw yet again another volatile day. What do you know? S&P 500 down 10 points, down 0.3%. The Dow Jones ended up going down 220 points, down 0.8%. And the NASDAQ 100, as big tech is being held up here due to the big tech earnings, ended up going up today, 94 points, up 0.8% on the day. And in this video, we're going to be talking more about the stock market, breaking down some technicals, going over a bunch of high growth stocks that I'm looking to buy right now heading into November of 2020. And I also want to break down some earnings reports in this video, as well as what I personally did in the markets today. So if you guys find value, hit the like button, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and check out all the free links down below: the Strive Smart Discord chat, the Strive Smart Facebook group, and if you guys want 3 free stocks from WeBull valued up to $1,600, that is linked right down below for you as well. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And it was a pretty funky day today. I mean, we didn't do much in terms of the closing price. Again, down 0.3%, so it was a pretty average day in terms of, the closing price. But when you look at the intraday chart on the S&P and all the indexes, right, it was a lot of volatility, a lot of choppiness, up and down all day. I mean, we can see big resistance throughout the day on the S&P. Where it struggled at was 3,400, right? We got rejected there twice in the morning. And I mean, 3 times in the morning, honestly, the first 30 minutes of the market. And then again later at about 12 p.m. here on the East Coast. And then again at about 1:32 p.m. here on the East Coast. We double topped at about 3,400, 3,405. And then we ended up selling off. So there's a clear resistance at 3,400 on the S&P right now. But there's also a clear support at 3,390. I mean, we held it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, we closed above it at the close for the 9th time today. So we're in this 10-point window on the S&P 500 right now. And at this point, guys, for direction, we're going to need to see what level do we break, right? If we break 3390 on the bottom side on this 5-day, 5-minute, we can see it. We might be going back down to test those lows from yesterday at 3360. I mean, yesterday was an absolute bloodbath. It was a crash out there. And if we do break 3390, I mean, we could end up maybe going to 3380. And if that level breaks, I know that's a little slanted line there, but you guys get it. If that level breaks 3380, that is where we might be going down to 3364. And another thing you notice here on the 5-day, 5-minute, which is a bit worrisome, especially if you're a bull here in the market, we got rejected by the 180 SMA and the 50 SMA on this 5-day, 5-minute. And it seems like we're curling down for more downside based on the technicals I'm seeing here, right? And if we pull up this hourly chart, you guys can see it as well. We're curling down. We're looking to break 3390 here, and we could be shooting for that lower lows. So at this point, I mean, the bears are still in charge, no doubt about it, in the past couple of days. I mean, honestly, ever since the middle of October, right, the bears have been in charge, and they're still in charge. So until the S&P, I'd say, breaks 3,400 and then 3,430 and well into the 3,400s, I mean, until we see that, the bears are going to remain in charge. And of course, stimulus still up in the air. We're probably not going to get it now before the election. So that is another reason the markets are going to be volatile and why we're selling off. Of course, the CV cases, they're spiking around here in the U.S. at least. I'm not too sure. I mean, I don't track it across the world, to be honest, but here in the U.S., they're spiking up. So there's a lot of things moving on right now. And of course, the election is less than a week away. I mean, it's actually 1 week away now, which is crazy. So the markets are choppy, guys, very choppy. Dow Jones, since it doesn't have much tech exposure, and like I said in the beginning of the video, I mean, the markets being held up by tech doing pretty well in anticipation of those earnings. So the fact that the Dow doesn't have much tech in it, it's down a lot more than, the average index today. So it was down 0.8%. We ended up breaking, did we break a key support? Let me double check. No, I mean, we didn't break a key support because yesterday was 27,370. That's where we bottomed. So I'd say that's a pretty key support. But the fact that we didn't break the high from yesterday, not the high from yesterday, but look at the closing price from yesterday, right around 27,690. The fact that we failed on the Dow all day there in terms of the bulls of breaking us out, that's a bit worrisome. And on the 5-day, 5-minute, you guys can see we're under the main moving averages, both the 180 and the 50 SMA, which is also worrisome. So this is indicating to me, hey, we could see more downside here, maybe down to about 27,300. I mean, if 370 breaks, 27,370, that is where the Dow could really see another leg down. I mean, where could we go? I'd say maybe, 27,000 flat, I guess you can say, is the next big support. That was an old resistance from back in July, so that could be the next gap to fill here on the downside for the Dow. And when it comes down to the NASDAQ 100, again, big tech is reporting this week, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, all these big companies, it ended up going up 0.8%. And what we see here, if we zoom in a bit on the hourly chart, we can clearly see NASDAQ 100 held 11,500 today. That is a very good sign in terms of a support, right? But we're still under the main moving averages. Very similar like the S&P and the Dow, right? We're under the 50 and the 180 SMA here on the hourly chart, which means, guys, we're technically in the short term still in a downtrend. So until we see a break out of 11,500, I mean, we already are at 11,500, so let's say maybe 11,600, 700, 800. Until we see that confirmation pop, I'm not getting too excited from a bullish perspective here on the NASDAQ 100, right? So at this point, guys, the markets are choppy, volatile, and they're pretty, I mean, I don't want to say directionless because the bears are obviously in charge right now, but I want to see for the next couple of days what direction we pick before going into maybe a position on maybe a leveraged ETF, or although I don't really trade those anymore, maybe an ETF, a regular ETF that tracks the market, right? For example, NDX, maybe something like QQQ, right? This goes up whenever the NASDAQ goes up. So when we get that confirmation on the pop, hey, maybe I'll get into something like QQQ, maybe play some call options there. But again, I'm waiting for that confirmation. And speaking of the market here, guys, not necessarily the stock market. You guys know I'm a stock market channel. Bitcoin. I saw Bitcoin earlier. It hit 13.7K, guys, 13,700, unbelievable. And this is due to, honestly, in my opinion, more of the adoption to crypto as a currency, right? We're seeing a lot of companies now holding it on the balance sheet, buying it up, right? We saw, what was it? Square has 50 million on the balance sheet now. PayPal is doing, buying and selling, and you can store it on PayPal, which came out about a week or two ago, which is great. So we're seeing this adoption of the currency here, Bitcoin. And again, who knows? It could be at 14K plus at the time that I'm filming this video, but a couple hours ago, it was in the mid 13,000s, which is crazy. And another reason why this is going up is because of the money printing, right? People are flooding to assets like gold and silver, but also to assets like Bitcoin. So if you want exposure to Bitcoin, I mean, the only real way that I even know that you can get access to it here in the stock market, at least, and again, this is a little bit different from the normal flow of the video, but hey, let me just throw it in here for you guys. GBTC, this is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. As you guys can see, today it was up 9%. So for my knowledge, this pretty much just tracks Bitcoin, and you can trade it in and out. So that's enough on Bitcoin. Take a look at GBTC, but of course, do deeper research into it before trading it. But yeah, just keep an eye on this and crypto, Bitcoin in particular, as it's been doing well. So what did I personally do today, guys? If you all remember yesterday, I got into Shopify, ticker symbol SHOP. And let's just say, guys, I got pretty lucky. I got in at the exact right time. And like I say on the channel, guys, sometimes you time it perfectly, but other times you don't. I mean, it's just the reality. And in this case, I timed it pretty well. I got in yesterday at 1,015 here on Shopify. I've been watching it for a couple of days at this point, right? Even last week. And what we notice overall on the 4-hour chart, we're seeing an ascending triangle pattern, right? You guys can see we're in an uptrend, and we're seeing a big wall at about 1050 to about 1100, which I think if we break those levels, we're going to fly on Shopify, right? So we're seeing that overall here, and I saw that yesterday, and I ended up getting in again at about 1015. And today, guys, on this massive move up, I got out limit order sell at 1075. So pretty solid move there in terms of Shopify. Overall percentage gain, guys, was close to 6%. And I said I got lucky, right, with the timing, but also with the catalyst that came out today that ended up shooting up Shopify, right? Shopify stock gains after company announces TikTok partnership. Shopify is trading higher because TikTok, and you guys can see here in the live news tab, is going to help merchants advertise on the social media platform. So Shopify is popping up there on the partnership with TikTok. Go do deeper research into that, guys. We're not going to focus too much on that in this video, but overall, that's what I did. I ended up getting out of Shopify, and like I said yesterday, my goal was to get out in the next day or two and to get out around 1060 to 1070. And I got out even higher from my target sell, which was great. So I did that today, Shopify, and I also ended up losing a little bit here on AMD. And you guys know I'm not much of a day trader. I like short-term swing trading much more, couple day holds. And sometimes, well, with other trades I'm in right now, I like holding for a couple months. It really just depends. And again, I'm not much of a day trader, but today I ended up day trading AMD and I lost money. So, hey, maybe that's why I'm not a good day trader, right, guys? Right, guys? Maybe, just maybe, right? But I got in on this volatility here on AMD, and I got in at about 80.35, right around, I think it was this first big dip. We started to rally out. Yep, it was right here. I got trapped literally, guys, right here at about 11:10 a.m. We failed breaking out of that 50 SMA. We pulled down pretty aggressively, and on this pull down, I lost some money at $79. So I stopped out. I think I set it a little bit under 1.5%, somewhere around there, guys. I held it a little bit tighter on this position due to the earnings, due to the volatility here. I mean, take a look. It was at 86, went down to 75, popped back up to 85, went down to 78. So when I was getting in at 80.30, my target was to get out at about $82, $83. Obviously, that did not happen, and I had to cut my losses there. And overall on AMD, we're going to break it down in a second here. They did report earnings, but overall, we're seeing on AMD a nice reverse head and shoulder here. I mentioned this in the Discord, and again, make sure to join that. It's linked down below. You guys can see it here. It is a bit ugly looking, I'll be honest, but you see the left shoulder, the head form here, and then the right shoulder. And I said I don't see this going much under 77 just due to the reverse head and shoulder we're seeing. And notice how we held this back in the beginning of August at about 77, 77.50, and we rallied up to 94. So I wouldn't be surprised if AMD was to hold 77, rally up to 85, 83, and maybe break out up to the high 80s. That's kind of what I'm looking at here for a potential swing trade. But first, I want to see some consolidation on the stocks. So we're going to talk more about this in a little bit. But overall, guys, took an L there on AMD. Took a nice profit on Shopify, and I'm still holding on to my longer-term swings here, being Electronic Arts, EA, which has pretty much been stagnant here. I'm in at about $133. It's been chilling at around $126 for a couple days. I'm also in Apple, which is doing well. I'm in the green on this one. I'm in at about $115. Apple was up 1.3% today, doing well in anticipation of earnings. And Workhorse, guys, oh man, Workhorse got creamed today, decimated. Man, this is getting ugly. Workhorse down to $17. It went down 7%. And I'm in a pretty deep bag right now. I'm in at about $24. But like I said, I'm looking to average down on this. after earnings, preferably, right? And I still think there's a lot of potential with Workhorse, guys. I'm not having weak hands here. I'm not selling out at the potential lowest point, because for all we know, Workhorse could rip right back up to the mid-20s by next week. I mean, that's the type of stock we're dealing with. Yeah, it's down to 17, but it could go back up just as fast, if not faster, right? So that's what I'm doing, guys. Holding a bunch of stocks there. Did well with Shopify. Took a little loss on AMD. And now let's get into some earnings reports. AMD ended up having EPS of 41 cents versus the 35 cents estimated. Revenue came in at $2.8 billion versus $2.56 billion estimated. So they double beat there in terms of EPS and revenue. And we're seeing now they're going to buy the rival Xilinx, I hope I'm saying that right, for $35 billion in stock. And the CEO today was on CNBC earlier in the morning, Dr. Lisa Su, and she was saying it's an effort to make AMD the industry's high-performance computing leader. The two companies, AMD and Xilinx, will focus on producing CPUs, GPUs, FPGAs, and SoCs, and software for PCs and gaming, as well as products and software across the automotive, communications, industrial, aerospace, and defense industries. Joining together with AMD will accelerate, and this is actually the CEO of Xilinx saying this, joining together with AMD will help accelerate growth in our data center businesses and enable us to pursue a broader customer base across more markets. So I personally, guys, I like this partnership. I quite honestly think the sell-off here from AMD post-earnings is a bit of an overreaction. And like I just said a couple minutes ago, I mean, I think this reverse head and shoulders is going to play out, and we're going to make a move back to the high 80s. And I don't know when that's going to happen, but I think within the next couple of weeks, it's very possible. Very possible. But if 77.50, 77 breaks, I mean, we fill the gap down to about $74. That would break the reverse head and shoulder pattern, I'd say, right? And that would be a different story. But as long as $77, $78 holds, I think there's upwards momentum here as we kind of settle down after earnings. I mean, we're seeing post-earnings jitters right now with AMD, with all that volatility I showed you. So just give it a little bit, guys. Let it wiggle out. Let it do whatever, and we're going to see what ends up happening here with AMD. And Microsoft, MSFT, guys, big tech company number one, ended up reporting today. They had EPS of $1.82 versus $1.55 estimated, and revenue of $37.2 billion versus $35.75 billion estimated. So double beat there on Microsoft. And like I said yesterday, if you guys followed my video yesterday, and if you guys haven't subscribed, I make videos like this every day breaking down the market, and it's kind of like a series, right? Because previous days we talk about stocks and we recover them the next day, and it's kind of like the story of the market in a way. So make sure to subscribe. And we talked about yesterday how I was looking at Microsoft to pop up and hit 215 before earnings in anticipation of earnings, right? We closed at about 209, 210. We had a nice rally into the close and after hours, and we did exactly that. I mean, we ran up to 215. We popped up to about 217 after hours, and now we're selling off to about 212. So, I mean, the earnings at this point, they're not really shifting the stock. It's not like Microsoft didn't expect this. I think the investors, traders out there, they knew Microsoft was going to do well, so the stock's not pretty much, right, surprised, you know? So at this point, I wouldn't really touch Microsoft until we broke, let me just extend this for you guys, this trend. If we were able to break, let's say, 215 cleanly and that 50 SMA here on the 4-hour chart, get to, let's say, 218, 217, I think that could be a momentum play. But until then, I'm just laying low with Microsoft, right? And we had JetBlue today as well, and I'm going to go over some interesting numbers here that reflect how JetBlue did, and maybe you could kind of get an idea of how airlines are doing in general. And at this point, it's no secret they're not doing well. JetBlue had EPS of negative $1.75 versus negative $2 estimated. Revenue came in at $492 million versus $457.15 million. So a double beat there, EPS and revenue. So pretty good on that end. But the stock ended up going down 5.4%, guys. Quarter three, this is crazy. Quarter three, daily average cash burn was $6.1 million. Could you imagine that? That's $6 million every day. It's like you're putting it in a furnace and you're burning it. It's gone. The next day, another $6 million. Next day, another $6 million. Next day, another $6 million. So they lost $6 million a day. But that's better. I mean, I guess this is decent. That's better than the previous guidance of $7 to $9 million per day, guys. So they're burning money, but at least they're not burning as much as they thought they would. And JetBlue, at this point, I mean, they have a lot of cash. So you might be asking yourself, how are they afloat? How are they afloat burning $6 million a day? Well, they have $3.1 billion in liquidity at the end of September. So that's a lot. $3 billion, I mean 3.1 to be exact. That's a lot. So that's how they can sustain the cash burn here. And they actually see, this is another big stat here, and it kind of shows how the airline industry is struggling. They see 2020 airline traffic down 66% year over year, and they see the total airline sales in 2021, the next year, down 46% versus 2019. So guys, if you think the airline industry is going to bounce right back in 6 months, it's likely going to take years, because again, in 2021, it's still going to be a 46% decline from 2019. That's incredible. So at that rate, I mean, will we be back by 2024? Maybe 2023? Maybe? Who knows, guys? Who knows? We'll see. But just know airlines are struggling. And we had a bunch of industrials today report. We had 3M. They did EPS of $2.45 versus $2.26. Revenue came in at $8.4 billion versus $8.29 billion estimated, so a double beat there when it comes to 3M. The stock's holding right above $160 per share, down from a mid-170s here, so decent drop there, decent profit margin opened up. So let's see if 160 holds. I mean, this could be a dip buy opportunity, honestly, for 3M here, so I'm keeping an eye on it. And another one is Caterpillar. EPS $1.34 versus $1.12. Revenue came in at $9.9 billion versus $9.8 billion estimated, and this could also be a dip buy. It was arguably overbought at $170. Now we're down to the mid-150s, higher 150s, which that's a $13 drop. That's around an 8 to 9% profit window open. So if we hold the 180 SMA, this overall uptrend here on the 4-hour chart, this could be a money maker. And the other one is Pfizer. PFE here, guys, ticker symbol PFE. They reported earnings of 72 cents versus 71 cents estimated. Revenue came in at $12.1 billion versus $12.33 billion. So they missed there on revenue, and EPS was a slight beat. And quite honestly, guys, I'm not going to touch Pfizer. I'd much rather play either Caterpillar or 3M, but I figured I need to report this to you guys out there so you get that knowledge of what's going on here with different companies and different industries, right? So let me know your comments and your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you guys think? And if you're all enjoying the video, hit that like button. Let's try to get 400 likes on this video. I challenge you guys. And let's get through a bunch of other ones here quickly before the video gets too long. Starting off here with Chewy. And like I've said, ever since I got my little doggy, and she's sitting right next to me right now, ever since I got her, I've been a customer of Chewy, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that, yeah, I mean, they shop at Amazon, but they much prefer to shop at Chewy over Amazon just to support a brand that is dedicated to animals, if that makes any sense, right? So I've seen a lot of that with Chewy and from my own experience as well, and their customer service is great from my experience. So Chewy, from a long-term perspective, could be decent. And in the short term here, I mean, today it was up, this is kind of creepy, 6.66%. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but it was up a good amount, up to $67 per share here. We held the higher low at about $62, $61, $63, right around that area, and we're taking off. And momentum is clearly on the side of Chewy right now. So, yeah, I mean, in the short term, we might pull down, we might cool off a bit, but I have a target on this stock anywhere from 70, I'd put it on the low end, to about $74, right, based on these two resistances here. So I'm watching Chewy pretty closely, ticker symbol CHWY, and let's talk about NEO, guys. Let's talk about NEO, and I called this out in the Discord chat, as well as my Twitter page, which is at StasSurfFest, and my Instagram at StasSurfFest. So make sure you guys follow me on those platforms. I called this one out, and we talked about it in yesterday's video. And I'm actually know a lot of you guys made money today with NEO, and I'm very happy about that. And we read it beautifully. Take a look here on the 20-day. I mean, we were trading in this downwards channel like clockwork, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and I said, if 27 breaks, if the 50 SMA here on the hourly chart breaks, and we start to get some momentum out of there, and you guys can see the volume picked up today. We had a 20 million volume in the morning, a little bit above that. I said we might get a momentum pop, and we got exactly that, right? And I personally didn't take the trade, like I said. I mean, I didn't trade NEO, or else I would have told you in the trading update, right? But if you guys did, that's good enough for me, right? If you were able to play it, that makes me happy because, yeah, I like making money. Of course, who doesn't like making some money? But I also like, although this is not financial advice, guys, right? I also like helping you guys find plays and for you to execute on them. And, hey, if you did your due diligence and so forth and you executed on a play for my video and you made money, I mean, that is great. I'm loving that, right? So NEO did well, up 10% today, and I'm looking for it to maybe see a pull down before entering, maybe $27.50, maybe $28, right around there. But for me, since I didn't take the trade today, I'm not looking to really force it or chase it. I'm looking to see what it does here. And again, if you played it, congrats. Let me know down below in the comments. So NEO is looking good. Another one here, high growth, is Snowflake. And this is one that it IPO'd. It was volatile, went from 320 down to 208. And it's kind of been cooling off a bit since then, slowing down and slowly uptrending, right? We hit a couple days ago 300, almost about $300 here. We pulled down aggressively to 240, so the volatility still is there, but not as bad as the IPO day and the days following, but still, it's crazy. And it seems like we're holding the uptrend now. We rallied up today about 6%, up about $15, and this could be the momentum shift back upwards, right? Especially if this 50 SMA here on the hourly chart breaks and that level of resistance from a couple days ago at 270, right? So one thing here that I'm seeing now is this could be a head and shoulder. Be careful. That means we could go lower. That is why I said 270 must break. If 270 breaks, we do something like this, then we might see a higher price here in Snowflake, and that's where we can trade it. But if it doesn't break and we sell off, that would be the right shoulder here in the head and shoulder. So be careful there. And two last ones here. We have Adobe, ticker symbol ADBE. Overall, we're seeing, I think this was an ascending triangle. Yeah, we're seeing this pull down from about 513 down to about 475. That's about, what, a $30, $40 drop. Down about 7%. So I think Adobe has some upside back up to the high 400s, maybe low 500s. And I have to double check when they're reporting earnings. But considering they reported back in September, they're probably not due for another month and a half. So I'm watching Adobe here. If this uptrend holds and we end up filling the gap upwards. And GameStop, last one here, guys, GME, ended up selling off 6% today almost. We're seeing a nice pull down after it hit almost $16 per share a couple days ago. So I'm looking at this anywhere from $11 to $12, quite honestly, anywhere around this 180 SMA on the 4-hour chart. I think that could be a decent price, but at this point, it's a falling knife, right? We're not seeing a bottom yet. It could go much lower, so in that case, I'm not touching it. I'm waiting until we end up consolidating, maybe at about $11, maybe at about $12. We just have to wait and see. So overall, guys, that's it for the video. If you all enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button. Again, let's try to get 400 likes on this video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Very important, guys, at StasSurfS, all together, StasSurfS. And make sure to also claim your 3 free stocks down below. Those are valued up to $1,600. All you have to do is deposit $100 on WeBull using my link, and you get 3 free stocks, and I also get 3 free stocks since it is an affiliate link, and it helps out the channel and all the free content that I'm putting up here, guys. So if you do use that, I really appreciate you all. So I'll catch you in the next video. Stay safe out there. Keep crushing the markets, guys. Peace out.